Hello, Mr. Ganino here again with our book from Nancy Drew, The Secret in the Old Attic. We're up to chapter 4. Reminder, permission to post an audiobook version of this book to YouTube granted on March 27th of 2020 by Penguin Random House Books for use with Voice Spears Junior Elementary until June 30th of 2020. Chapter 4, A Startling Figure. I'll renew my search for the missing compositions at once, Nancy decided. On her way to the attic, she stopped to say good morning to Susan and Mr. March. The little girl was sitting up in bed, a big grin on her face. She was listening to her grandfather tell stories. The doctor says I'm almost better, Nancy, the child said happily. I'm sure I can get up soon, and I'm never going away from here again, ever. Mr. March's eyes glistened with tears, and Nancy was sure she knew what he was thinking. She opened her purse and took out a check made out to the order of Philip March. For me? For Mr. Faber's antique shop? The elderly man asked, not understanding. It's for your table and hat boxes, the ones my friends and I found in your attic. I had no idea they were worth so much. This will tide us over for some time. And now I'm going to search for something even more valuable. The music, Nancy smiled. I'm sure you won't find it, Mr. March declared sadly. It's been stolen, I'm afraid. Nancy did not tell him how near the truth she thought he might be. She said nothing about the mysterious prowler. Instead, she urged Mr. March to be hopeful. Nancy realized the mystery would be a long way towards being solved if the elderly gentleman could identify some of the tunes on radio programs. He had no television set and his one radio did not work very well. Mr. March, suppose I bring my portable radio out here tomorrow, she asked. Carry it around with you all the time. You may hear more of your son's songs. Oh, that is very thoughtful of you. Nancy straightened the covers on Susan's bed, then said she would start her hunt on the third floor. My friends and I didn't have a chance to do much searching in the attic the other day, she told Mr. March. I guess if the music is in this house, it'll be up there. You may be right, but please be careful. When Nancy reached the top of the narrow stairway, she turned on her flashlight and looked about, wondering where to begin her hunt. The place seemed even more spooky than the previous time she had been there. There was a musty odor in the attic. As she stepped forward to open a window, the floorboards groaned. Nancy decided to begin her search in an old horsehide trunk. She lifted the lid and saw a yellowed wedding gown of rich brocaded satin. This lovely dress must have belonged to Susan's grandmother, she thought. Alongside the gown lay half a dozen old-fashioned pictures. One of them instantly struck Nancy as familiar. I believe this is a Currier and Ives. Yes, here's the name to prove it. Her heart leapt, for she knew how eager collectors were to buy these old prints. Wow, what luck is this? She smiled. I wonder what else I can find here that could be sold. Nancy had been so busy, she had failed to notice a lowering thunderstorm which had been coming nearer and nearer. Now it broke over the old house in all its fury. Guess I'd better close this window and then help shut the ones downstairs, she thought, stepping across several boxes to reach the dormer. After securing it firmly, she went towards the stairs and started down. Just then, she heard a splintering sound, followed by a crash, which shook the old March mansion convulsively. There was pandemonium below. Susan was crying loudly. Effie was shrieking, and Mr. March was shouting, Nancy, Nancy, are you all right? The girl hurried down and assured him she was unharmed. She in turn was relieved to find the others safe, but Susan was trembling with fright. The little girl had gotten out of bed and scampered into the hall. Now she clung piteously to Nancy. I don't want to stay alone, she wailed. Something fell in the house by my window. Nancy stroked the child's head soothingly. She asked what had happened. Mr. March, already on his way down the broad staircase to the first floor, replied he thought one of the big pine trees had blown over and struck the house. The lightning did it, declared Effie, terror in her voice. Chin up, Effie, said Nancy. Let's all go downstairs and let's all see what happened. She got Susan's bathrobe and slippers. Then together they followed Mr. March. She called to them to come down to the music room. Out of the window they could hear one of the tall pines leaning against the mansion. It was right against the window. As soon as the rain stopped, Nancy and the elderly man went outside to see what damage the fallen tree had caused. Looks like very little harm was done, said Mr. March. This house is well built. That's a heavy tree. I'm glad it didn't fall on your car, Nancy. I am too, she said. If you'd like me to, I'll go to a garage and get some men to bring a wrecker up here and pull that tree away from the house. That would be a good idea, but the expense. I know a man who won't charge much, said Nancy. And that reminds me, I've found some more things up in the attic to sell. A dozen or so pictures. She hurried to the attic and gathered up the old prints. Do you remember these? Nancy asked Mr. March. They were stored in a horsehide trunk. They will bring a good price. You mean they're worth money? Indeed they are, Mr. Faber. He'll be glad to see them. I've only begun my search in the attic. Let's hope there's many more saleable treasures up there. I take it you didn't find any of Phipps's music? Not yet. I'll have another look tomorrow, Nancy promised. As she was about to leave the house, Effie came running towards her. Oh, Miss Nancy, you're not going to be away long, are you? She cried out. I won't draw a comfortable breath until you return. I'll be back in the morning. Morning, Effie shrieked. I can't stand here without you. Creaking sounds, men prowling around at night. Oh, Miss Nancy, please come back and sleep here. I'm afraid if it's as bad as you say, I won't be able to sleep. The young detective grinned. Well, I'll try to get back, she said, and she went to her car. Her first stop was Leonard's garage. The owner had equipment for removing fallen trees and promised to go out to Pleasant Heights at once. Then Nancy went on to Faber's antique shop and received a sizable check from Mr. March. Finally, she dropped into her father's office to tell him her plans and also to report what happened at the March mansion. You say Effie saw a man prowling around? Mr. Drew asked. Yes, Nancy replied, and I found footprints going around the house. I don't like that, said Mr. Drew. If you go back to the mansion, Nancy, I don't want you to take any unnecessary chances. Oh, don't worry, I won't. Nancy hugged her father and left the office. Before going home, she bought a few toys for Susan. Later, she packed them together with some groceries, the portable radio, and her clothes in a suitcase. After an early supper, she drove back to Pleasant Hedges. Oh, I'm so relieved to see you, Effie cried. Presently, Nancy turned on her radio to a station which was broadcasting popular music. She asked Mr. March to listen carefully. Perhaps you'll hear the song you recognized the other night, she suggested. If you should, please jot down the station, the orchestra, and if it's announced, the name of the composer. Oh, nothing would please me more than to expose the impostor, Mr. March declared. I want the world to know Phipp wrote that song. The elderly man carried the radio upstairs. Meanwhile, Nancy decided to do some more hunting in the attic. Unfortunately, her flashlight battery was dead, so she went to the kitchen for a candle. Effie began to chatter. This house ain't so bad in the daytime, but when it starts getting dark, the shadows just sort of leer at you. Nancy laughed. Nonsense! She opened the cupboard and took out a long white candle. Effie looked at her questioningly. What are you planning to do now? There's no light in the attic, explained Nancy, and my flashlight battery is dead. You're not going up there tonight, Effie exclaimed, aghast. I'm sure nothing will happen to me, Effie, and I want to help Mr. March if I can. The maid shrugged her shoulders in resignation as Nancy set the candle in a holder. She left the kitchen, went to the second floor, and stopped at the foot of the attic stairway. There she touched a match to the wick and held the candle high in her hands as she ascended cautiously. Just as she reached the top of the steps, the candle blew out. Nancy's heart began to pound. Was someone up there? She shook off her momentary fear. It was only a draft from that leaky window, Nancy told herself. She struck an extra match and relighted the wick. Nancy stepped in the attic. The candle flickered again and nearly went out. Something moved. Oh, it's my own shadow, of course, she reasoned. But how awful I look. Nancy's eyes focused on a massive wardrobe which stood against the far wall. I'll search that first, she decided, crossing the attic. Setting the candle on the floor, she grasped the knob of the door and pulled. I wonder what I'll find, she asked herself. The door did not open. At the same moment, there was a creaking sound. Nancy could not tell where it had come from. She picked up the candle and looked around. It's nothing, I'm sure, Nancy told herself, but she could not shake off the uneasy feeling that had come over her. Once more, she put down the candle and tugged at the door. It finally opened, swinging outward on a squeaky hinge. From within, a long, bony arm reached out towards Nancy's throat. And that is the end of chapter 4. Join me again next time when we'll read chapter 5, which is called A Suspected Thief. See you then.